Welcome back to RP1. In KSP, although 1.4 is now out, we definitely don't have a Realism Overhaul for it yet. So, back to Realism Overhaul, we've got this craft which I'm calling the Lunar 1, and the Lunar 1 is fairly simple for a craft. It's a Pioneer 4 probe, Pioneer 1 probe I should say, and that has on it a couple of experiments. Not that I think we'll have enough charge at the moment, we may not even have enough charge to get where we need to go, but we've got some solar panels and maybe it'll last. And below that we have a solid rocket booster. Now this is the Altair, or the Altair, depending on how you want to pronounce that. And this is, well, it's quite important. This is one of the first really good solid rocket boosters for upper stage stuff anyway. And if you have a look here on this readout, you'll see it's 3272 at the moment. If I remember rightly, it's around 3260 in vacuum to get near the moon. So, and that will be 30 seconds of firing. So that's our kind of top level stage, and it's got a couple of more antennas on there and whip antennas when it's close and little bits and pieces, nothing too special. Below that is our AJ10 stage, and I need to make sure, have I upgraded this to the next? No, I haven't. Ooh. If we do that, we'll get slightly more delta V. Yeah, S3D. Okay, so we'll get 12,690-ish. I want to say that's going to be okay-ish. 5,700, 8,700, 9,300 and something. So yeah, we should be close enough for orbit. And then this will come here. Now, one of the big problems we've got, and there's only a small amount of RCS in these little tiny tanks, nitrous oxide, and that's for these. One of the problems we've got is we can't really afford to stay in orbit too long, even if we make it to orbit. So we're going to have to take off at a certain time, and I still don't have that upgrade. So this is going to be a simulation flight, a kind of proving flight, if you like. We're going to do it without having to build it, and see whether this concept will actually work and fly. Now, it should actually fly, but whether it'll work is something else entirely. So let's just check the staging. We've got all the way at the bottom our two boosters. So we've got central engine boosters and the verniers. Taking off to move the sort of support towers, and then detaching this stage, firing the ullage motors, firing the AJ10, and then there's this stage. This is the spin-up stage, okay? Because as soon as we let this go, there's no more guidance. That's it. That's it. So before letting it go, we're going to spin up, then detach, then fire this. So this AJ10 is going to have to essentially orient itself the right direction, then spin up so that we can't head into another direction accidentally. And have I forgotten? Yeah, have I forgotten enough? Let's have a look in here. Avionics. Okay, it's fine when I do that, but when I do this, it has no avionics. That might be a problem, you know, because if I add avionics up there, well, MechJeb will fly anyway, so that much is for certain. But once MechJeb finishes, and I have to orient this toward, well, we don't have a maneuver node, but if we orient it towards prograde or something along those lines, yeah, we're going to need avionics, and that means it's going to be a little bit too heavy, maybe. Let's have a look. Where's avionics? We want the procedural avionics for, we don't need it for any stage after this, of course, so we don't want to affect the delta V for the moon. And we'll bring this diameter in just to match-ish. Not that it matters too much. Does that actually... Oh, it does actually make a difference to the acceleration, which means it makes a difference to the mass. I assume. Where's the mass? Vessel mass 2.619. Yeah, so that makes... Can we turn that into a pencil? We'll see what that's like. And we need to change this from a booster to an upper stage. Okay, and that's the minimum kind of size for an upper stage, unfortunately. So, what do we have at the moment for our delta V stats? That's not good. Oh, in fact, hang on, that's only the upper stage. Let's put this back. We've got enough avionics now. We can't get below 3 tons, unfortunately. So 12677, so we've got 4852 plus 805, so that's what, 5652, 5657, 8657, and then 9300 and a tiny bit more for separation. Yes, that's going to be really close, but it's worthwhile at least trying, I think. We could try and stretch a couple of these stages. Remember that this one can now last longer, so that is one option. We don't get to tool that if we do it, but if I bring this up to 2 minutes 30, I think is the maximum. 2 minutes 24. So what did we have before that? How much is this increasing? It's given us about 100 delta V, and that actually is reasonable. Yeah, let's bring it up to 2 minutes 30. I'm not going to change this first stage. And 12742, hopefully that will get us to the moon. Make sure the staging hasn't changed. Separation, ullage, motor, spin, separate, fire. And then we got to put this back. And then, hopefully, where are these going to go? That separators for these. Yeah, it always puts them in the wrong place. Okay, so let's save that, and I'm going to simulate it, and let's see if this flies. Oh, insufficient avionics. Haha, better check that. It's only a tiny amount, mind you, but can we just increase this tonnage just a tiny, tiny bit? We want 400 kilos. 400? Bit more? There we go. Okay, save and simulate. Okay, so this is going to be a blind eyeball simulation of getting to the moon. I'm not going to actually be able to get to it in a simulation because simulation charges per minute. I'm going to have to forward time warp. What we're going to be doing in the live thing is basically finding this circle like this and lining it up because we don't have the ability to try to create nodes. Once we've got it like this, we want to just incline, because this is the highest point of the orbit, so the most inclined. And we want to line the space center, Cape Canaveral, up on that side of it. So the highest point in the moon's orbit. And then we're going to just create it to this angle. And we want, I think it's around a 1/9 of the way. So, you know, if we start up here, we go into orbit, we fire the Altair, and it's going to send our opposing side of the orbit out this way. So we want to meet the moon down here somewhere. And the moon revolves once every 28 days-ish. Thereabouts. So we sort of want the moon in 14 days from now, around here-ish, I guess, somewhere about a 1/9 of the way around. Maybe we won't have to be too accurate, but the main thing for right now is can we get up into orbit and get ourselves fired so that our opposing side is down here somewhere. It doesn't have to be all the way to this line, but you know, we can't control it once we start firing that solid rocket booster, so we can change it a little bit. We can reduce the amount of fuel in it so that it won't get us quite as far, or it can get us a little bit further. It isn't full at the moment. I've had to already reduce its amount of fuel just to be able to push it all the way up into orbit. So let's give this a go, and let's hope, well, there won't be any failures due to test flight in the simulation, but let's get it going. So fire, and I guess we should go, and oh, let's just restart the simulation. Engage the autopilot before actually lifting off. And that's another point in a couple of commenters did say about, yeah, some people consider using autopilot and MechJeb sort of cheating. If it was me not narrating a video and not playing a Realism Overhaul, I might decide to fly them manually. But doing all those things and flying an efficient ascent and doing it every time perfectly in the amount of time I have to do recording is not so easy. So yeah, I'm gonna go for using MechJeb when it's sensible to do so. And of course we want to take off, and here we are. So we started off with our solid rocket boosters again, taking off almost immediately. Then the main engine kicks in as they start bringing us up off the launch pad. And of course now we've got about 16 seconds. So you've seen all this before. Let's forward to orbit, where, well, or nearly orbit, and we'll see if that approach with the Altair works. Okay, so here we are ascending into orbit. Our AJ-10 is currently firing, which is what you can hear in the background. You can see the stages dropping away from us. And of course we are misaligned because we're nowhere near that top of the orbit, because I don't really want to fast forward and use up funds in the simulation, often too many funds. All we're really looking for is to see just how far it gets away. So if we have a look here, it's going to send our orbit down that way, so you know, opposite if you like, or out here somewhere. Whoops, too far. Out here somewhere. And as long as it gets us sort of the same kind of moon distance-ish, then I'll consider that a success in the simulation, and we'll try and go and fly the real thing. So let's take a look. How long have we got left? A minute. Not very long at all. I don't have anything to really deploy on this craft, so you can see the tiny little RCS tanks here. They shouldn't really be needed all that much, so I can just probably reduce them in size if we need to. It depends just how much these use to align us, because it's not going to be used for very long at all. It's just going to be keeping us on track. So coming up now, so our time to Apo is a little well, we're coming right up to it now, so I'm going to slow us down just by inclining us a little bit, and that's going to stop the timer-ish, or get very close to stopping it. Let's increase it a little more, 7 degrees. And you'll see that's moving away from us now, which is the correct direction. So we'll just reduce that down a little bit. And I'm just keeping this quite manageable. There we go. It's still increasing even as we're, you know, doing this. So we're right at the peak of the orbit now. You'll see our periapsis is coming in. So we're not going to be able to do too much more now. We've got 9 seconds of fuel remaining. So I'm getting ready to disengage the autopilot. Won't take very long at all. And there we go. So 471 by 388, pretty good. Let's turn on the RCS, and I'm going to tell this to point us prograde. Why aren't you firing? Are you not enabled? I did change them to RCS. I did change them to nitrous oxide before I put them in here. We'll figure that out later. We're close enough to the periapsis, I guess, although it might be nice. Unless they need to be activated manually. Do they? Disabled? Let's just see if I can activate them. Okay, so you have to enable them in, oh god. You have to enable them in the VAB, and I forgot to do that. I suppose you can have them so they're fired through staging, but I normally don't like that at all. So let me just activate all of these. And that's probably going to send us off course a little bit. Whoops. Have we got them all enabled now? Nearly. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't like it because I may not have them all enabled. And the last one, hopefully. Okay, so RCS now, can you point us prograde, please? And you'll see how fast that RCS is actually depleting. So that's probably about the right amount. Maybe even a bit too much. So we're pointing prograde, and you know, we've got an orbit, so we can go around any point in that orbit that we like. But for now, well, our Apo is there. So should we push the Apo? No, let's just actually see how well this goes. So, flight proving, can this actually get us anywhere near the moon? We're going to need to detach. Have I got my staging right? Yeah, I do. Okay, so, ready? Spin up. Spinning, and detach. And fire. Okay, and at this point, no more avionics, no more guidance. This thing is leaving, and if you get this even too much, you can leave the Earth-Moon system entirely and head out into the solar system. So as you can see, this is radically changing our apoapsis. So if you had a any sort of standard rocket mission for altitude, you'd be okay. And we've got 3 seconds of fuel left. Yeah. So that's enough fuel. It looks like. So we're going to completely escape the Earth-Moon system if we head in that direction. And yeah, so you can see it is opposite to where we currently are, but that's perhaps a bit much, has to be said. So I think I'm going to bring that in a little bit, maybe 3260, try and take down a little bit of delta V. As you can see, when we got down to the last couple of seconds, that radically changes the side of the orbit. Even with the last, half second left of fuel, that sent us radically out of the Earth Moon system. So if we get it right, you can still hit the moon or get an encounter with the moon, but you may not be able to get it below a certain altitude because it's just going to be, flying past it really fast. But it proves the concept. Whether the ship itself can work, or the rocket itself can work. Now what we have to do is build one and painfully fly it. So in mission control, we can have a look what's available. Lunar, an uncrewed lunar flyby even, is fly by the moon within 5,000 kilometers. Okay. Collect science from around the moon and transmit it to the KSP. Recover and transmit. That's pretty hard. I may be able to get close to the moon. Whether we'll retain any battery power is something else entirely, but we can take this mission and get an advance of 150,000, which will push us over the amount needed to get one of our tracking stations up and running. That much is for certain. Impactor, well, maybe. We'll have to probably fly one and see how well that goes. But as soon as I accept this, it's going to take, we're going to have a year. So if I take a look at the launch pad, each one takes 71 days. So we're only going to get 5 attempts without, getting science and increasing that. Whew. So let's take this here, take the mission, and we've got 411,000. Tracking station upgrade will get us to be able to see patched conics. Okay, and that upgrade is requested. How long will that actually take, though? 295 days. So before that, all we're going to see is the other side of the orbit. And in fact, I just want to scrap that and scrap you, or edit you, I should say, and just bring down the amount of fuel in that first stage. I forgot to do that one, so let's do that while we can. So yeah, we're only going to get 5 attempts, and we're not going to be able to see the way the path of our orbit change to an encounter with the moon until we're nearly out of the moon. So that's going to be an interesting one. This hopefully is not namesake of the real Lunar one. Let's go in here and take a look at this. So we've got 3272 at the moment, and we want to bring that down. So if we show the user interface and then just change this to something like 102.5 and update. 3263, maybe 3257. Wow, it is really, really sensitive. 32, 34. Okay, so exactly 3260. So 13 delta V less. And otherwise, we're going to fly this just as is. So let me just put this back and make sure they're put in the right places. Yep. We can save that craft and save the edits to this, which will take us back out. And then we can just duplicate it on the launch pad without going back into the VAB. Pretty efficient. And then, of course, once it's built and rolled out, we have to keep it on the pad while we all get close enough to a few days while keeping it on the pad while looking in the tracking station. So let's just duplicate that for a second. Duplicate. And let's have a look at the tracking station. So here's we're going to fast forward time just to see where the moon is in its orbit. And we'll also keep an eye on this as well. So again, we're able to see the inclined nature here. So we want to get the maximum angle sort of there-ish, I think. There. Okay, and we want to wait till that is 14 days away. But of course, we've got 71 days to wait. So we're going to have to warp till it's complete anyway. And whoosh goes the moon around. And of course, it's at the worst possible time. So the rollout will take 5 days. So if this is where we wanted around, yeah, around there. If we wanted around here, we probably want to fast forward until we got to about here before we get it out onto the pad. So let's fast forward the moon, so to speak. And around it goes. Okay. Up to the top. And just to the sort of 9 o'clock position. Okay, and then let's start rolling it out. And hopefully that's not going to take much longer than 5 days. Oh, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, this is going to be close. Oh, that's sort of horrible. I waited a little bit too long. That actually might be too far. Maybe. Depends on where we are on the planet. Let's have a look. 13 hours. Let me get to the ability to be able to launch. Yeah, that is going to be too much. I'm going to have to wait to go around again. So let's fast forward and hope that none of the fuel is volatile. I can't remember if the fuel in this early rockets is actually volatile. So let's fast forward to there, let's say, at launch pad. Okay. And then we also need to make sure that we are sort of up here somewhere. So where are we at the moment? Is that Indigo Alpha? It's Karoo. Where are we? Hopefully not on the wrong side of the planet. We probably will be. That is... Oh, okay. We're not too far. There we are. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. There's Cape Canaveral. We want it to be there. It's going to be a night launch as well. Oh, all right. Okay, so let's go around. And I might have to go around again. I hope not. And let's say there, shall we? So this is going to be an interesting launch. All right, let's see how far that is around. Might be doable. Let's go and try it, shall we? Okay, here we are in the final 30 seconds, heading towards orbit and, you know, chasing the sunrise, because it is a night launch, but it is a beautiful sunrise that you get with scatter and the other visual enhancement mods. So we've got 20 seconds left, and hopefully that's going to make it. Yeah, we didn't take as much care on the way up, but let's see if that's going to be okay. And we're sort of okay-ish on the map screen. I'm just going to concentrate on this for a second. We've only got 4 seconds, and we just want to make it into some kind of orbit. Yeah, that doesn't matter too much. So now we're going to enable RCS, and that's going to point us to disengage the autopilot, point us prograde. Oh, come on, I know I enabled you this time. You're enabled. We got nitrous oxide. Okay, I can fly with this, but it's not working with this. Okay, fine. SAS, let's turn this off, turn SAS, point prograde. We'll use you instead. That's no problem. And now, well, now we don't have much of an option. We are sort of opposite. We're slightly off again on the inclination. And if any of you guys know how to do that blind from taking off from the Cape Canaveral without any of these upgrades, by all means let me know. But for now, we're going to spin up and release. And oh god, let's go. Let's see how well this does. So it's going to push our orbit that way, which is good. How close we'll get is something else. So remember, we had 3260 exactly. And we'll see if it gets us close enough, and more importantly, if our electric charge lasts. Ooh, what have we got there? Is that any kind of... Oh, speed record. We get 12,000 for that. Let's get rid of all of you. It's fading out, fading out, fading out, fading out, fading out. we're just going to escape again. Okay, so I'm not sure about the 3260 figure in this case. However, we didn't get too far away from the moon, so we'll have to see. I'm going to fast forward, and we can obviously, for the rest of our 4 attempts, reduce that amount of fuel. We're still getting pretty close, I think. So let's see if our electric charge will actually last. Let's fast forward a little bit. All right, now, is it going to last? We're not exactly placed in the best orientation, but is that decreasing? It looks like it isn't. Okay, and before I actually go any further, oh god, selecting this is going to be interesting. We probably want to, not the PS1, I want to grab one of those and activate it. At least one of those. We'll try one and we'll see if that actually starts depleting things. It doesn't. Good. Okay, so have we now got something efficient enough to be able to fly through interplanetary space, at least if it's somewhere near the sun. Let's head toward on the map screen and see if we can get out there and see how far we are away. Yeah, it's going to start saying lots and lots of... Well, let's just disable that, shall we? Because we want space near the moon. And, of course, we've got electric charge problem. It looks like it's depleting. It is. Oh, no. So, I wonder, will it let us reactivate if I deactivate the... Okay, that's... so tempting to take a huge amount of science, but I don't have enough electric charge. No, we'll resist. We can make more of these if we want to. What I actually do want to do, however, if I've got this problem, can we deactivate the Pioneer 1 probe? It's deactivated already. Okay. I'm not sure this is going to make it. We may have to put a battery on, and that, of course, will weigh us down a little bit more. Yeah, see, look at that. Oh, it's draining. Is there any way of me saving any power on this thing? Other than turning that antenna off, which will cut us off from the planet, unfortunately, if I do that. Activate, deactivate. I don't see any other way of saving power. So we may well make it to the moon, but we won't be able to succeed in the mission. But at least we know it'll actually work. And there it goes. No connection. Will we get an intercept? Oh, close. Close. Intercept. And we can't get any science from it. But we've actually got it now, and its altitude, what's its closest approach? That's 32,000 kilometers, and that is unfortunately not good enough. We need to get within 5. So when we don't escape it, maybe that will enable us to get a lot closer. All right. I think I'm going to fly those additional ones. We know this actually works. So I think we're going to fly those additional ones on probably between the episodes. I will record them so that you'll be able to see them succeed and get that mission, hopefully. And hopefully you join me next time. I'm going to have to stop there for this one. It needs to be a bit of a short one. But we are able to get to the moon. I just need perhaps to put a little more batteries on it. And maybe that'll just bring our weight up enough to bring our delta V down enough so that we actually, we're all going to be okay. All right, so I hope you enjoy this one. Blind trip to the moon, or fly past the moon anyway. And yeah, hope you'll join me next time. Feel free to subscribe, share, and like, of course, as normal. But once again, as always, thanks for watching.